Good evening. We are in the last session of this very successful summit on DigiGovernance, the session on emerging technology for public services, such as artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, for instance. Effective and efficient public service depends on the pillars of legislature, executive, and the judiciary working together to ensure transparency, equity, and justice in all its operations and functions. Technology plays a pivotal role, as we have heard today, in improving public service and taking the economy forward. We have a distinguished set of panelists to discuss on this topic. Before going on to hear them, let me introduce myself as a 93 batch IAS officer of Kerala CADA, who is leading a public sector undertaking by name Additional Skills Acquisition Program Kerala, which is anchored in the Department of Higher Education, Government of Kerala. As an NCVET recognized awarding body and assessing agency, as early as 2018, we did curate a program in artificial intelligence machine learning with the help of the faculty of IIT Palakkad and Madras, and offered it to the students of engineering colleges across Kerala. And then we went on to curate programs in business analytics, cybersecurity, and the works. The focus on all this was knowledge acquisition and hands-on experience against industry-relevant job roles. With the establishment of the semicon plans, we in the government is working on providing OSAT semicon training for the job roles that are arising in these plans. We find that the youth that we train in these fields are skilled enough to be posted in the industry. But what about public service? Are there budget limitations, lack of technical expertise, lack of significant organizational changes necessary to navigate procurement processes for digital inclusion? Yet, there have been bright sparks amongst our civil servants in the country, those who are handling public service for the government. And so today we shall hear from them. We begin with Dr. Sharmila Mary Joseph, the Principal Secretary, Higher Education, Government of Kerala, a 1997 batch Kerala CADA IAS officer. She has handled several posts in the past, the last being in local self-government handling urban development. She also handles currently the charge of Women and Child Development as Principal Secretary. So, Dr. Sharmila, what steps have been taken in the departments that you have handled, in the departments of higher education, women and child, LSGD, the urban development, in bringing in digital technology to improve public service and to nurture the application of emerging technology in the service?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for that very warm introduction, and also for setting the tone for discussion in this session. As you mentioned, ma'am, the higher education sector in the state is poised for great changes. And ma'am had been at the helm of the higher education department just a couple of years back. So ma'am was heading the higher education department for close to 2 years or even more than that. So the new initiatives in the higher education department have had the signature of Usha Titus ma'am. And I'm happy to note that these initiatives have now taken wings and the higher education sector in the state is now poised for, greater achievements and greater successes that we can proudly acclaim. We have started the 4-year undergraduate program in our colleges, in our universities from last academic year, from 2024-25 academic year. And, the way we have brought in digital tools to ensure that students who join the 4-year undergraduate program as well as the other regular programs are able to, transfer their credits, do majors and minors and upgrade their skills. As they specialize in a particular subject, they can upgrade their skills in another subject. A student majoring in science can tone her skills, upgrade her knowledge in a subject under the social sciences sector, or a subject related to literature or arts. So with the guidance, under the guidance of the Higher Education Council, the recommendations that come from the Higher Education Council and the directions from the Chief Minister and the Minister for Higher Education, we have ensured that the curriculum, which is undergoing regular and repeated revisions based on the need of the hour, the curriculum which is getting upgraded based on whatever is happening elsewhere in the world. So how the curriculum brings into it the best of the curriculum in other universities in the country as well as abroad. So therefore, in the higher education sector, under the Higher Education Councils, based on the Higher Education Council's recommendations, we also have developed a CalNet, a library linking system, which links the major universities of the state and the major higher educational institutions, so that the students can access the books and journals available under the CalNet system, and the system makes use of the modern digital tools to enable the students, the researchers, the faculty to upgrade their knowledge and to know what is happening in the rest of the world, and how to sort of tune their curriculum and teaching methodologies. We also are in the process of setting up centers of excellence. There are 3 centers of excellence under the university system and other centers of excellence under the Higher Education Council. And these centers of excellence also look at the newer areas, nanotechnology, space technology, computational technology, artificial intelligence, and other related aspects. So as we go further in further developing the centers of excellence, we would be able to bring in more digital tools and other AI tools for ensuring that the centers of excellence really live up to the mission and the vision that we have set forth for the centers of excellence. Ma'am was also asking about the e-governance initiatives and the digital initiatives that we had taken in other departments. So as ma'am was mentioning, till a month back, I was in charge of the local self-government department. And as my colleague Sambashiva Rao mentioned in his speech in the previous session, under the local self-government department, we have launched a new state-of-the-art digital technology, a digital app called the K-Smart, which has upgraded the software systems which were hitherto being followed in our rural as well as urban local bodies. So all the services given to the citizens, be it the registration of birth and death, be it issue of building permit, be it issue of occupancy certificate and completion certificate for buildings, that is all done through this state-of-the-art software called K-Smart, which was officially launched in all the urban local bodies on January 1st, 2024. And this year, just last month in April 2024, K-Smart was launched or rolled out in all our panchayats, in all the rural local bodies as well. But that does not mean that our rural local bodies did not have a proper software system. We had been having, softwares developed by the Information Kerala Mission from year 2000 or even before that. So we had a lot of standalone softwares for birth registration. We had Sevana. For accounting, we had Sankhya. For finance, we had another module. We had a series of software modules starting with S. So we used to call them the S softwares. And those softwares were upgraded and modified into the ILGMS, the Integrated Governance Management Software System for the rural local bodies, and which has now gone into the next step as K-Smart has been launched in the rural local bodies as well. Then in my other department, the Women and Child Development Department also, we have the softwares to monitor the growth and development of children, the nutrition of children, the portion tracker of Government of India, as well as the inbuilt systems that we have developed to keep track of every child who is attending our Anganwadi centers, every malnourished child. We have we keep track of these children, how many children are there under the severe acute malnutrition stage, SAM stage, how many children do we have, MAM stage, moderate acute malnutrition, how many children do we have, how many girls and women are suffering from anemia, and what are the corrective steps that are required to ensure that that these people move out from moderate anemia stage to mild anemia stage to normal stage. So these are also tracked by the Women and Child Development Department. And also now, as part of our endeavors to ensure that the women's issues are taken care of, we developed a POSH portal, the sexual harassment of women at workplace. So in our state, we developed a POSH portal in which all the government departments have registered and entered the details of the internal committees that have been formed in all the sub-offices of the departments of our state. And we are now onboarding the IT units under the various IT parks of the state, and also the cooperative institutions under the cooperative department of the state. So these are just some examples of the digital initiatives that have been taken up in some of the government departments of Kerala.
Thank you. Quite informative, especially the POSH portal and others. So I turn now to the panelists to my left, Mr. Gopinath Narayan, a 1996 batch officer who now serves as Principal Secretary IT in the government of Assam. An IT Kanpur product. He belongs to the Indian Audit and Account Service, has served as Principal AG Audit in Assam, and prior to that, almost 4 years as professor at the National Institute of Financial Management, Faridabad. So, Mr. Gopinath, there is an exponential growth in artificial intelligence. To what extent can AI be used in citizen-centric services, especially audit and finance sector, given cybersecurity issues?
Thank you, ma'am. I now these open-ended questions. Gives me an opportunity. We've been told, ma'am, and even the seminar topic itself is reimagining governance in the age of AI. The whole day that we've been listening, while we are hearing this statement, this communication that AI has come, we are seeing it in words, but not really in the kind of spirit in which it should be said. Somewhere I think we are missing that action that AI is bringing in. What I meant by that, if you work with AI, all of us have worked with AI, in the sense that we may have interacted with a chatbot. And as somebody said earlier, ma'am, that we've been using AI forever. There was a colleague from Keltron who said, depends, we've been using AI. Because if you look from the machine learning perspective, AI is the outer box, and everything is inside. But this time when we are saying we are living in the age of AI, truly it is very different now. I mean, this is a year, frankly, in the last 2 years, we have Sir Demis Hassabis, and Jeffrey Hinton, We got two Nobel laureates who have worked in the area of AI now. Demis Hassabis very famously said way back when he started this deep mind, he said, first we'll solve for intelligence and then we'll solve for everything. And this is what I realize now, that what we have been doing all throughout, we were using some kind of machine learning, work on data, solve some problems. And when we speak about digitization, it's something which I've been doing for decades now. But this time, it is truly different. I can feel it so viscerally. Because what you realize for the first time is that intelligence has become a commodity. It's a very valuable commodity, but intelligence is on tap. It suddenly allows a person to answer anything. I mean, a couple of days ago, when my wife had some medical kind of a problem, retinal detachment, something related to that, just speaking to O3, and O3 is a genius of a model. All of us have worked possibly on, if you're paying the $20 to Sam Altman, he lets you access the O3 model. And I could speak to it long enough to, before I went to the doctor itself, to know that, a PVD is happening. And PVD is a term I heard for the first time. It's posterior vitreous detachment. If you know basics of optics, you understand enough to be able to tell the doctor that this is the diagnosis. And he kind of looks at it strangely. But now he agrees. I mean, he's seen the symptoms, he's seen that, and I can even start discussing with him the kind of medicines we should have. Because, it has impact on this and that. So for the first time now, you have intelligence which is so widely available. It's on the tap, and it's dirt cheap. O3 model, which is the best model, and this is the kind of model where Tyler Cowen, one of the top economists I love to follow, one of the most polymathic person that you normally meet, he said that this is AGI. Just like pornography can't be defined, he said, this is AGI because this is AGI, I can see it. So this is where we are now, that we are looking at large language models and generative AI, which is much more than human intelligence. It allows a person like me, okay, I am a tech enough person, but still a bureaucrat, so how much of hands-on do we have to be? But it allows me to redesign a service dashboard. We're talking about citizen services. We have a Seva Setu where all the services are brought in together. So within a very short period of time, I can have this 1.5 crore transactions, etc., working on a dashboard. So, I know a bit of dashboarding, but I can ask a model. At the time O3 was not there, I could still work with 4.0 and say, I'm not able to fix it. And you can tell me how I can fix it. There is services, the same Seva Setu, where we have so many services, and we also have an RTPS Act in place. But who is really accountable for a service? I knew that I needed a rule engine, which can actually say who is going to be accountable, who is the TPS, who is the first appellate authority, etc. Again, a few hours of conversation with O3, and you can design it. That way I'm ingesting data. Other day, I was speaking to the Bhashani team, and I was sharing this example. On the way here, I could download the model from Hugging Face, okay? And I have an app working on the laptop now. It's a local model now. And I can do a translation using the large language model. So what we are seeing now is an intelligence explosion, which allows you to become an expert on almost everything. So this is the need now to reimagine governance now. Our citizen services model that I see now are still very transactional in nature. They still have forms which may even stump the citizen. Like I keep saying, I get stumped every year when I have to sometimes say, who's my assessing officer? Or in some forms, it will say, which is your police station? And I'm not a professional criminal. I've never been caught. So, why should I know my police station? So many of our forms are still designed asking for all the information. So when you want to reimagine governance in the age of AI, the first thing you have to realize is that intelligence is now available on the tap of a very high level. So you can redesign all your applications, understanding that language is a problem that has been solved. AI knows language. Bhashanis may not have the best model, but it's still good enough. It's possible for the citizen to ask for a service. And when I say ask, I'm saying not type, ask. It's possible for voice to be converted to text, integration with the DigiLocker, and once he authenticates with his Pehchan or Aadhaar-based thing, much of the form could have been filled automatically. So we're looking at a whole stack that we developed this multiple services. We'll have to now redesign it all over again. And that's one part that I'm working over there, that how much of AI can be brought in now, knowing that there's so much of intelligence there. So the next part of it is that if there is so much of intelligence on the tap and government has delivered the service, how do we start benefiting? If I can use O3 and become as smart as a doctor or as smart as any professional programmer with no experience, I mean, minor experience, but you can really scale at a high level. How does government itself become far more intelligent? So this is where the next part comes in, that I think at our level, the service provider being the government, we got to have this kind of intelligence multiplication available to every government servant, which means not exactly access to an O3 model, but maybe a hybrid kind of a model. And this is what we're going to pilot very soon now. In our own data center, have one of these smaller 70 billion parameter models working there and allow every government servant to be able to use it. And because it's in the data center, the privacy concerns are not there. We're not sending the data across to ChatGPT or to Gemini to understand how the government thinks. Our noting and drafting could have become smarter. We all spoke about paperless offices, e-office. But even when digital, a file can have 1,000 pages. And our sections, why should we be forced to read everything? Why couldn't we have generative AI looking at all of this and telling us what is the crux of the issue, how it has developed? So this is where the government servant also could have been made smarter, and we deliver the services better. So just a couple of points that I would like to say before I do that. I said I need to redesign the AI services, knowing that now intelligence is a commodity which is available, and we can totally change the way we design our applications. The complete redesign of civil services is required now. And one small part that I'm seeing spoken in multiple places now, the application development itself. I mean, these service development now, we can do much more of it through very small teams. So how even services are developed needs to undergo a change. Because small teams working with these no-code and really automated agent-based tools has suddenly empowered all of us. So some of it finally is intelligence explosion has happened. We are kind of in the AGI mode, but as I said, the future is already here. It is unevenly distributed. So we got to make sure that everybody has access to the intelligence also. So we have the government servants becoming far more intelligent as a multiplier because we have made it available to them. Our citizen services, we got to redesign them, making it far more easier for the citizen to ask for a service. And we can develop these solutions far faster now through our own internal teams because it's far more possible, easier to roll it out. That's where it is.
Thank you. I now turn to Karthikeyan S. He is CEO of the Zila Parishad in Kolhapur, Maharashtra, a 2020 Maharashtra Cadre IAS officer. Has served earlier as CEO of the Pune Smart City Development Corporation, earlier in the Integrated Tribal Development Project, also in Nanded in Maharashtra. So Karthikeyan, given your passion for the introduction of digital tools for improving the efficiency of public service, tell us something about the AI-based tools that you have developed, how you went about doing it, and what the feedback has been.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Maharashtra has been one of the leaders of tech-driven governance, and we have implemented a lot of AI-driven projects. But there are actually, ma'am, two projects where I was closely involved. One is IRA, Artificial Intelligence-Based Road Quality Assessment, and the second is Nipun Maharashtra. It's an AI-based educational app. But IRA is something that's very close to my heart because it was me who developed it and piloted it. So I would like to take this opportunity to explain a little bit about IRA, and if the time permits, a little bit about the Nipun Maharashtra app as well. IRA, ma'am, is not just a project, but it's a vision that says that technology is not just an accessory of governance, but an essential backbone. One of the most common complaints that we field officers get, I'm sure you'll all agree with me, ma'am, is the quality of roads. Almost every day we read in newspapers that the newly built roads get cracked, it gets washed off in a single spell of rain, it's not leveled properly, there is waterlogging and everything. Upon inspection, ma'am, I found three problems. The first problem is that layering. So every road, I'm a chartered accountant, ma'am, basically. I do not have a technical background, but with a little bit of introspection and a little bit of inspection, I found that there are basically three problems associated with the roads. The first problem is layering. Every road has a lot of layers. I'll take an example of the most common tar road, we call it. The first will be they put 80 stones. After that, they'll put murum, which is a mix of sand, gravel, and stone, and they'll compact it, and then they put 40 stone, and finally the bitumen. So either the layers are missing or it is not in the proportion they are supposed to be. The second is compaction. After putting every layer, it has to be compacted properly, at least by 3-4 times, so that there are no gaps between the layers. If there are gaps, the water gets accumulated, and of course, over the time, it gets eroded. The third problem is that once the road is built, how it is tested is basically the block is cut from the road, it is destructive analysis, and that block is sent to labs where there is nexus, and of course, the positive report comes. So these are the 3 problems with the roads, major problems with the road, and so we wanted to build a robust, decentralized and personal agnostic system so that the quality of road is analyzed, and that is how we developed IRA. And it is, first of all, it is not a pothole detection system, but it is a quality assessment system. So IRA basically has 2 components. One is user interface, second is AI cloud. So user interface, there is an app through which any officer, employee or site engineers, they take pictures of various sections of the road, horizontal pictures and the vertical pictures, vertical cut pictures. And once that picture, of course, they feed other data as well, lat long, village name, district name, the category of road, it's district road, other district road, state highway. And once it is taken and sent to AI Cloud analyzes it and gives 3 KPIs. The first KPI is the visual quality of the road, where it gives out the pavement condition index. Pavement condition index is a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very bad, 5 being very good. The second, the KPI that comes is the slope of the road, if it is an expected parameter. And the third and the most important KPI that it gives out is layering and compacting detail. If the layers are present, and if it is present in the proportion it is supposed to be, and if it has been compacted properly, and all in a single click. So this is how IRA works, and I'll tell you in 1 minute how we built it. To build any AI engine, there are basically 4 steps involved. One is data collection. Data is the fodder for any AI engine, and we collected huge data from a lot of state agencies, and we collected a lack of pictures. Data here means pictures. We collected all weather data of different quality, so that the results don't get distorted because of this data. So first was data collection. The second was data annotation. We trained AI engine as to what is a road, what is a crack, what is a lane. So we did data annotation. Third is data training using convoluted neural network. Basically here we built 4 algorithms. First is deduction algorithm or acceptance algorithm. I cannot just take a picture of this hall and say this is a road. So it has to first accept it. And it has to accept if it is a road, if the picture is good quality or not. So first is acceptance algorithm. Second is detection algorithm, where the algorithm detects the various parameters of the road and the various parameters of the layers. Third is classification algorithm, and the fourth is slope algorithm. And fourth step is data execution and visualization, wherein we built an app and a portal through which the analyzed data is shown. So we piloted this. We did a lot of training of the AI engine. We piloted it in my probation district, and the accuracy was around 67%. And then we went full-fledged in my district, where now the accuracy has come out to be 87%. We are even thinking of making the final payment to the contractors compulsory with only if it passes through IRA test. And what we are thinking in future is that we are even planning to have a contractor performance rating, wherein all the contractors are rated based on IRA score, which will help them go ahead. So I personally feel that IRA has a potential to become a national model for tech-driven infrastructure by saving crores of money. And it is always said, ma'am, that future is the best way to predict the future is by creating it. And I think we in Maharashtra are doing it. Thank you.
Hearty congrats on that. We hope that it is picked up as a best practice at the national level as well. So I now turn to Ojaswi Alankar, another 2020 batch of the IAS from Punjab. He is the additional chief administrator at the Greater Ludhiana Development Authority, an IIT Delhi alumnus, who has also brought in digital tools to improve citizen-centric services. Can you please tell us how the public accepted your your digital technology and what you did to bring in a greater awareness amongst the people?
So good, thank you, ma'am, and a very good evening to all the esteemed members who have joined today. I'd like to begin a little with adding to sir's word that we are living in the age of AI and we really are in the process of reimagining governance. So, ma'am, I'm currently working with the Development Authority, and so we are trying to make a digital twin because there are a lot of manual procedures involved. Like sir has mentioned, okay, we have moved on to the first stage where we have implemented the office procedures, but it's not really smart as such. So we are trying to work on all the verticals so that they become smart and talk to each other. For example, if I have a enforcement wing, if I have a regulatory wing, we get a lot of data on illegal constructions happening or illegal developments happening here and there. So that data, if we don't use that data while using the licensing side of things, for example, if that unscrupulous developer comes in and applies for a CLU for the same plot, and if we are not able to fetch the data really well, then it may lead to loss of financial losses to the government, and it may evade criminal prosecution, etc. So we are working to make first such databases that can really interact with each other. Of course, this is the back-end side of things. This is not citizen-facing side of things. So in the citizen side of things, in the reimagining sort of governance, we are trying to move from a so the government's one of the progressive steps the government took was self-certification of a building plan. So the government came up with a progressive step. Okay, let's do a self-certification of a plot below 500 square yards. So if you're good with it, if you're an empaneled architect, then you come up to us and pay some fee, and then you get your plan sanctioned. So now, like Gopinath are adding to sir's word, that when we have such technologies available that can mimic human intelligence, why not we should transition from a self-certification to a self-validation regime. So as to say, what 3 or 4 people in the chain are working those things out, we can make a software as good as that. So we have tied up with an academic institution as well, ma'am. We are actually trying to produce results on paper, at least, that it is not just let's say easing out or replacing some earlier technology just for the sake of using AI as a buzzword. Let us also see whether it can really, really help us and mimic human intelligence. So we are trying to work on this building plan system as well. But I was having a word with one of the panelists, my co-panelist, Madan sir. So like GLADA, since GLADA is an organization which works in planned urbanization, so we are also developing residential and industrial and urban estates. So one of the ideas that popped up and we are going to work on next is the P2P transaction of properties, but not properties as in registration per se. So in land pooling, we generally offer letter of intents to the people who are offering their lands. So on a transfer fee, they are able to transfer that property. But then there's a whole system in which GLADA as an organization gets involved because they have to manage a lot of data. So can we move to a platform in which directly you can transact your properties, because there's a minimal data that is involved. All you need to do is to do an identity check, pay a certain fee, and it automatically gets integrated into the systems. So those sort of problem statements we are currently working, ma'am, and we are currently developing these solutions. And I think the whole principle of working these solutions is the user's centricity side of it, that the design side of it. So we have to reimagine our process in such a way that it is not just that due to my convenience, I am developing certain forms in certain manner, that I will ask the user or the citizen to fill in 20 columns or 20 documents. We should move from that and see how can we really ease out that service to the citizen, so that whatever data I have available, the database is able to interact with each other, or I have smarter solutions that like AI, which can do the feature extraction from a document and things like that. So I think, ma'am, in some months, maybe we'll be able to roll out. From July onwards, we are doing a pilot in our authority with respect to the building plan systems. And maybe Madan sir has also promised me that we'll do a collaboration, and maybe in a few months, we'll be rolling out the P2P transfer exchange program. So, ma'am, that's about it from the development.
Thank you, Ojaswi. May may be successful in a month's time. So I now turn to Mr. Paneerselvan Madanagopalan, whom Ojaswi referred to. He's a Pandasi CEO of the Métis Startup Hub. He has an extensive experience and proven leadership in bringing innovations and nurturing growth in the entrepreneurship sector. So, Mr. Madhuragopal,
Yes.
data and good quality data is essential for entrepreneurs to start working in a specific area. In the Métis Startup Hub, what is your strategy or what recommendations do you have to the government to make available this high quality data to develop the innovations that is necessary to improve citizen service?
Thank you. Thank you everyone for having me, and probably even to thank you for the patient listeners here. I think METI, I mean, for those who, I'll expand it. It's Ministry of Electronics and IT as the Government of India. At METI Startup Hub, we have three essential aspects for any conference today is not complete without a startup component, because I think the new wave of technology that is being brought, and especially in the AI ML space, blockchain, AI is something that really is kind of cream on the cake, or the icing on the cake. But there's more technologies that are, especially like blockchain and other technologies which are equally important for us to kind of build the whole DigiGovernance framework. So having said that, I think at METI, the three things that we are doing, one is, first and foremost, as you asked about the data part, there are significant data sets that are a sandbox environment that are available across the ministry. So, not just METI, at least 17 central ministries are working with a startup program. It starts with METI, it's of course Startup India, DPIIT has their own program. And second, the IDEX, which is the Defense and Aerospace program. And last but not least, BIRAC, DST, all of them have a startup program. And most of them have today data sets, sandbox environment for the availability for usage of the startup perspective. At METI, we also have not just data sets, but we're also providing with compute capability now, because it's not just data set is required, it's also compute capability is required. Because if you're talking about processing large amounts of data, you also need GPUs that are today. I can proudly say India is the country which is providing one of the lowest cost per hour utilization of GPUs. So ballpark, it is about 60 rupees per hour. So that's something which is one of the huge. And under the again, METI has multiple programs. We have the India AI mission, we have the India Semiconductor mission, and on the cyber security program. So all of these programs have dedicated compute capability provided to startups, dedicated data sets that are available. All of us talk about the UPI and the digital fintech model. That's essentially because NPCI had that amount of data to kind of build on. So there is a lot of data available, a lot of compute capability available. What I would urge the leaders here is to kind of give us the right, or rather give the startup community the right problem statements, the opportunity to collaborate and co-create, because biggest challenge with startups is they are not ready with they're not a plug and play solutions. They are here, they may have the capability and the technology, they may want to co-create with you rather than come in as a vendor. So that's something that is very, very important for the bureaucracy and the system to understand that they are not solution providers, but they are co-creators. And that's something which we need to really understand. Third is also the opportunity to procure, because one of the biggest challenges for startups is to, there are only two large customer groups, I keep saying. One is government and one is corporates, right? So government needs to kind of ensure that they are able to procure from startups, and thereby creating an opportunity for startups to directly engage. In my past life, in my previous role as the Chief Innovation Officer of Telangana and T-Hub, We had put in some very interesting mechanisms to procure from startups. We're trying that in Meiti as well. So I would urge all the leaders here to look at how we can, work with startups in terms of procuring, because customer is your best investor, and if the customer is government, nothing better than that, right? So that's something that we are looking from the thing. Yeah, and one of the things that I would like to say, Meiti also has a lot of funds being offered in terms of supports to startups. At every life stage, from an idea stage to a scale-up stage, at every life stage, there is a fund there is to support. And it can go up to crore. Now we are also looking up to 5 crores per startup. While I'm not a big believer of funding, money is the only problem solver, but there is support. There's no better time to start up and solve problems. And I request the leaders here to provide the right problem statement and the right environment for startups to collaborate with government. That will provide a huge opportunity for the startups in say. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next panelist is Mr. T. Ravi Kiran, a Indian Forest Service officer, who is now serving as Commissioner of Electronic Service Delivery, Me Seva at Telangana. You facilitate government to citizen services as well as government to business transactions. What have been the major challenges to adoption of the emerging technologies in improving citizen-centric services? You have, if you look at your Me Seva site, you have really gone ahead in Telangana with providing online services, perhaps the best in the country or close to it, and many states are like that. But what are your challenges? What do you face as your biggest 1, 2, 3, if you were to list, which the government should take a conscious step in, removing the hurdles?
Thank you, ma'am. So I assume that I'll be the last speaker. I'll also like to add here that Elets had put me in the first panel just because my flight got delayed. So firstly, thank you, ma'am. Regarding the electronic services or the citizen services, how all the other senior officers have told, obviously there is no end to where we have to reach, ma'am. I mean, even though the United State of AP was one of the first to start citizen services, now we have reached about 500 or 600 services. Of course, the list keeps on increasing. Very recently, we touched 20 crore transactions. But what I believe the step forward, and of course, in wake of the AI, in wake of the data analytics that is happening, ma'am, is I believe we need to perhaps try and define the life cycle of a citizen versus the life cycle of the citizen services. Meaning the moment you are born, your life starts, and so does the citizen services start with your birth certificate. Then you go and maybe you apply for a school, you get a school certificate, and you get an Aadhaar. Then you buy a vehicle, you get a vehicle registration, you get a vehicle license, and when you get married, you get a marriage certificate. You buy a property, you get a property registration done, and so on and so forth, until of course the death certificate. So once we do this mapping, I believe the next step should be how do we proactively reach out to the citizen and say that everything is ready. Because if I talk of government, and maybe more specifically in Telangana, ma'am, like being the center of citizen services, we have so much data that we have, like if you take any citizen in the state, you know how much agriculture land he or she owns. You know how much non-agriculture land they own. You know how many vehicles they own. You know even how much electricity bill every month they pay, to that detail. And of course, with Aadhaar, you know even the demographic details. With so much data already available with the government, you also know that, when a person needs a particular service, with all the data already there with you, It's only a matter of taking consent from that citizen that if you agree, we'll just process it and give it to you. And I mean, maybe the most ultimate step would be to not even ask the citizen. Like, you completely complete the life cycle yourself. I mean, of course, that is the most utopian or the most final thing. But I believe we have to map the life cycle of a citizen versus the life cycle of the services which the citizen avails and the triggering points for each of these, and then apply and finally get it approved.
Okay. I think, since the session has to close, I won't ask additional questions. Although I would now turn to Mr. Gopinath for one question. How can government prepare for the rapid changes that are going to happen or that are already here? What would you advise governments to do?
The biggest change, I strongly believe, is the intelligence explosion. So how are we going to equip the government itself to become more intelligent is one part that I'm concerned about. We all, I'm sure, are using GPT to draft our document, but surreptitiously. I think nobody ever admits that this note or something has been done with the help of one of the large language models. How do we institutionalize it? I'm already seeing Singapore, US, UK, they already have policies in place wherein they're allowing government servants to be able to access them. All you got to do is some kind of a hybrid model where you decide what goes outside your network and what does not go outside the network. I think this we got to start doing immediately. The intelligence multiplication within the government has to happen. That's the one part of it. The second part, like we heard some of the speakers speak about broadband itself being a fundamental right. You got to realize it's not just because internet is required for a Google search. Once again, the same analogy of the intelligence, the tap, it's flowing through this tap. We're going to make citizens also be able to access this level of intelligence. So this part on the government, first of all, becoming more intelligent with AI is something that has to start immediately. We need to have policies on that.
Yeah, thank you. And to Dr. Sharmila, the availability of competent trainers to train in emerging technologies is a big challenge today. And from the higher education sector that you handle, what do you propose to do to rapidly scale up the knowledge in this emerging technology?
Yes, ma'am. You hit the nail on the head. We need to have trained faculty. We need to have teachers. We need to have instructors who are themselves familiar with the new tools, who are themselves intelligent with the new LLMs or the new models or the new languages that are being developed. So how do we do that? We already have some training programs, but how far or how successful are these training programs in ensuring that the teachers are adequately trained and adequately exposed to the newer developments, to the newer tools that are there in the market? So we have programs like the Additional Skill Acquisition Program, which is now a company that Madam is heading. So these kind of programs, the Skill Acquisition Program, the ASAP, or the Skill Acquisition Program under the Department of Labor, under CASE, these kind of programs would ensure that the skill sets of the students are upgraded and the students are exposed to skilling programs and reskilling programs and upskilling programs. But as ma'am was rightly pointing out, is that enough? Would that take care of the needs of the of the sector? Would that take care of the growing requirements in our higher educational sector? No. So therefore, we have in our state also, we have started some initiatives whereby the research scholars, the postgraduate research scholars or the postdoctoral scholars are given scholarships to do more research in this area and to retain the talent that we have through the form of research scholars, the PhD scholars or the postdoctoral scholars. So we have announced the Chief Minister's Kerala postdoctoral research fellowships where we promise a fairly decent fellowship amount compared to compared to the scholarships that are offered in some of the renowned institutions in Western countries. We also have programs like erudite programs, the scholar in residence programs, where we get researchers, where we get scholars and professors from abroad who would come to our state, stay in some of our institutions for some time, exchange the knowledge that they have with our faculty, with our research scholars and our students, especially the postgraduate students, thereby help the faculty as well as the students acquire the additional knowledge and the necessary skills that are required. We are also, setting up, we have also done the basic work for setting up a Kerala Institute of Advanced Studies, similar to the NIAS. So this program would also, cater to the requirement of upskilling the teachers as well as the students. But we do have a very long way to go. The faculty equipment programs, the TechVip programs, the quality improvement programs, need to be upscaled and modernized with the changing requirements. We also have other exchange programs with institutions of repute in other states as well as national institutions of eminence and repute, so that our teachers can go there, their teachers can come here, students can go there and come back, so which would facilitate exchange of knowledge and upgradation of skills. And we are also working out some collaboration programs with some universities in other countries as well, which would facilitate our teachers also to go abroad and see what is happening there and stay there as residents in scholar program kind of things, stay there, understand, learn, and then come back and help upgrade the skills of their peers, their colleagues as well as their students. But as ma'am rightly mentioned, over the next few years we need to do a lot more to ensure that the teachers upgrade their skills, upgrade their knowledge, get hands-on training in the newer tools, and students also get hands-on training on the newer tools and the newer developments.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
To continue with that question, is the idea of immersion of faculty in the industry an idea to be pursued by industry? And in that regard, Mr. Madan Gopal, would Mighty encourage it from the government side? Because that's the way to bring, the cutting-edge technology to the faculty.
Absolutely. I think it's a very, very pertinent point. If you look at the West, I think there are three key reasons for success. One is essentially the risk capital that we call about, because the amount of money that, if you look at Silicon Valley, why startups really flock towards that is the amount of risk capital that is available. To my mind, the second important point is the amount of collaboration with industry and academia. And the number of professors who start companies and the number of academicians or researchers who become part of companies is one of the most critical factors of success. And unfortunately, we've not had that kind of volumes here. I'm privy to what is happening in IIT Madras or IIT Kanpur, and to even some extent in IIT Delhi. There are, there's a e-plane company, correct, right? So there is academicians, professors need to get involved in translating their research into commercial companies, and that is starting to happen. And in fact, when I took charge of this role, one of my first program that we are working is faculty startup program, right? Because it's something that we are very, very, very passionate about, very keen on, is to encourage faculties to build companies along with and success rate of those companies are much, much higher. And more importantly, the amount of contribution those companies making is significantly better than normal just student-driven or entrepreneur-driven startups. So it kind of brings the experience and the knowledge as well as the agility of the young entrepreneurs. So that blend is something that is quite phenomenal, ma'am. So we are definitely focusing on that. We have also, as I said, we are working on the faculty startup program, and I must say a lot of faculties are now starting up companies, and AICT, has facilitated it today. Professors can be founders and they can hold stake in the company. So the environment is ready. It's just a matter of mindset change, and that is something that is what is required.
Thank you. So I now open the floor to the floor. You can ask a couple of questions to any panelist. As I can take a couple of questions before we wind up. So if there's anyone with a query, please stand up. Yes. Maybe it's because the last cycle that we don't have a question. Oh, somebody has raised a hand. But I was see. And start.
Let's just stretch.
So you have a question.
Please do.
Yes. Yeah, this is more about higher education, so Sharmila can take it. I think you spoke a lot about exchange programs, sending people abroad, learning the best things, empowering them, giving special scholarships. Rather than looking at the teachers' empowerment, don't you think we should, because we know that how irrelevant the education is becoming day by day. If you not from the perspective of learning, but the perspective of the formal structure we are learning into it. Because there is so much knowledge available in the open source. So don't you think the time has come for higher education to look back and say that, okay, if the O3 kinds of platforms can be made the part of a syllabus, and the government pays for the membership to the subscription fee for the students above the age of 18 who are graduating in college, and then you ask them to do the project and the learning through that, because most of the knowledge is offered available in the open area. Best of the institute, go to Coursera, EDX, best of the courses from Harvard, MIT, or any institute you name of relevance in the MOOC, they're available. So how long we feel that we need the teachers in the traditional sense, and we are going to train them, educate them, give them fellowship so that they teach others. Whereas they just need to be facilitators and the leaders in the knowledge sector. And then maybe there will be exchange of knowledge, because so many people can learn at their own level, that we need to redefine the way we are looking at the higher education in traditional sense. Are you thinking on that?
Yeah, thank you, Neelkant. That was a very disruptive suggestion. So if I put that suggestion across in my department in the state, from tomorrow onward, there would be flags raised against me, because we have a big union of teachers and the staff and the associated groups. But, your suggestion is a very good suggestion. Knowledge is available at our fingertips. You don't need a teacher to teach you, as in the good old days when we were students, when our ma'am and I are from, medical colleges. So teachers used to teach anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry from the main textbooks when we started first year of MBBS. But today, the student doesn't really need the teacher in that sense, because even before the student reaches the class, he or she could access the internet and use the tools, and then sitting in the class, he would check on the phone whether the teacher is, making the right statement or not. Yes, as you mentioned, teachers can be facilitators, but the facilitator himself or herself should have the basic, knowledge and understanding and the willpower to assimilate more knowledge and to accept what the student community proposes or what the student community discusses. So in an institution abroad, I too had done my master's in public policy from Maxwell School in Syracuse some 15 years back. So there also I had seen, how the students come prepared to the classrooms. They come prepared reading after having read all the readings that are prescribed, and then it's like an open conversation in the classroom where the student may have a better and a more modern point to put across, and the teacher engages in an active, learned conversation with the student community. But our educational institutions have not, I'm not really sure whether at least some of our institutions have reached that level. Yes, some national institutes of eminence would have reached that level, but we need to go a long way to reach that level. But doing away with faculty or reducing the faculty strength or reducing the funding for faculty equipment and faculty upgradation may not be done, or we cannot wish away with that in the immediate future. At least for some time we need, hand-holding of the faculty so that they would be able to assist the students to that extent. Yes, the students would harness knowledge on their own, but that, a nudge from the teacher or that some hand-holding support from the teacher would be useful for, say, clarifying a new concept or clarifying a basic concept in a particular subject. But as you mentioned, say 20 years down the line or 30, 40 years down the line, No, but we have the teachers' union, so that is what, as an administrator, that is the problem that I would face. So even if we feel that teachers are an unnecessary evil, we will not be able to do away with them. We will not be able to do away with them, but how do we take them along in the system, say 20 years down the line? How do they adapt to the newer tools and the newer techniques that are available? But we need to do a lot of disruptive thinking in government as well.
Yeah, I think very valid points. Today there are 2-3 things that have happened. One is 40% of your engineering time can be spent online. You don't have to be in college for 40% of your time. That's so AICT permits that, right? So you can learn. Knowledge is free. More than that, in the last few years that I've been teaching, or I've been part of some of the engineering, I think faculties are the first port of call for any innovative idea. They can either enhance it or kill it at that point in time. And more often than not, they kill it. I'll tell you, because it's additional work for them or additional load that's why I think a significant amount of faculty load should be reduced and focused on research and innovation rather than doing lot more of what you call academic work, which as in non-academic work. A lot of colleges today have academic part of the component and non-academic part of the administrative work. So faculty should be led to do what they are really good at in terms of research, innovation, and other support, enabling the students rather than. So that balance is what we need to change. And we definitely don't have to do away with the faculties, but we need to just enhance them to think differently.
Thank you. Ojaswi, one last question to you. Did you feel when you were developing the digital twin and others, the need for infrastructure, the need for equipments, or the lack of funding to go further in this area, like a resource system or something else?
Ma'am, actually, the need actually came from the public, really, with the way we were handling the citizen services, really. I had tremendous challenges in the way I was going to enforce things in my authority, in my institution. So, of course, ma'am, when we reimagine governance, when we really need to do changes in the governance regime, you need to change the rules. You need to really change the way we try to process things. You actually need a lot of political push as well, public acceptance as well. So, like I was talking about the building plans thing. So, in 2019, the government of Punjab actually first put in that e-governance model for building plan systems. And it's not like Punjab state was the first state in the country. I mean, maybe Hyderabad Municipal Corporation is way ahead in the way it processes its citizen services. So they put on the compliance burden on the public. So what happened was the way we were detecting the objects in the plans, be it the layout, the site plans, they said, okay, as architect, you do some color coding of things. So, like you put in the outer boundary in this color, you put in the stairs in this color, you put in the setbacks in this color. So, because we had, of course, a deterministic way of how to process those plans, so we put on the compliance burden on the public, and that's where I thought, as government, instead of putting the compliance burden on the public, which of course public wasn't receptive as much, but of course they came into that regime. But now, since we are living in that age, we really have the power to mimic human intelligence, really, where we can just put in some documents together, and the systems are such that they are able to read it very, very intelligently. I think there's a case where we can really improve on our efficiency as government. So this is where I think we put in the whole digital twin concept together. Now we'll have colony information systems, we'll have intelligent property information systems, and things like automatic detection of illegal developments, so that we can track of things in real time. So these are the things we want to really work on, and we are currently developing them. And I really believe that we'll see some good response, because of course people would really appreciate real effective real-time governance. Yeah.
So thank you very much to each one of my panelists for being here and making it a very lively discussion. I now call upon the Elets team